Capcom. The famous publisher that would bring the world of gaming some of its biggest franchises was an unknown quantity in 1984. This began to change for the company when it released its first true Smash arcade hit in 1942. Sure, it had a couple of other mild success stories by this time, but this title would transform the company's fortunes. For those of you unfamiliar, 1942 is a vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up that takes place during a fictionalized version of World War II. Your mission is to guide a US fighting plane to take out Japanese fighters. This may not seem like an odd concept until you think about the game's publisher Capcom, a wholly owned Japanese company. The approval for this game must have definitely been surprising. Designer of the game was Yoshiki Okamoto, who also created Gyruss and Time Pilot for Konami before transitioning over to Capcom. Okamoto also created Sun Sun for Capcom. Needless to say, he already had a string of hits early in his career. Earlier this year, Capcom began to roll out ports of some of their popular arcade games from yesteryear, including Ghosts and Goblins and Commando to Android. Much to the dismay of some fans, Bluetooth controller support is nowhere to be found. Normally, I can never recommend an arcade port without controller support, but shoot-'em-ups are one of the few genres in the mobile world that work well with touchscreen controls thanks to relative touch, meaning that your finger doesn't have to obscure your craft. Also, thanks to relative touch, depending on the aspect ratio of your device, you have a pad on the bottom of the screen where you can control the action without your digits getting in the way. This port also gives you two modes. One is a casual mode, which as the name implies is a bit easier to play through. What casual mode does is it allows you to get hit and not perish immediately thanks to using one of your rolling loop-to-loop moves for you. It automatically does this when you come in contact with an object. It all depends on how many of those R symbols you have on the screen. Additionally, there is now a warning that pops up letting you know that enemies are entering your airspace from the rear, giving you time to get out of the way. Casual mode also starts you off fully armed with a 4-shot and 2 additional planes in tiptoe formation alongside you for extra firepower. Then there is the arcade mode, which is a faithful reproduction, but of course with some serious difficulty spikes strewn throughout the 32-stage campaign. Fortunately, in either mode, you have the ability to continue where you left off thanks to a level select. Stages will continue to unlock as you pass them. As for playing this arcade hit in 2017, well, it's pretty plain at first. Sure, enemies come at you in different formations, which keeps things fun, and then there's the red planes that drop power-ups as long as you destroy the entire phalanx. Trying to keep your little trio of planes in one piece is very difficult, as sometimes bombers that approach from 6 o'clock come in a formation that does not accommodate getting behind them with all 3 planes. A roll may save your sidekicks, but then again, you just spent a roll. Ha choices. Types of enemies don't change often and most stages look the same. I mean, seriously, all the same. You will spend most of your time over water and then every once in a while, you are treated to a landmass. However, the pace of the game becomes addictive with every crunchy sound of taking out planes of formation. But speaking of sound, prepare for 32 stages of the same music, and by music, I mean whistles and beeps of some kind of marching band without melody. There's a little bit of music when confronting a boss or landing on an aircraft carrier at the end of each stage. My first experience with this title was the NES port when I was much younger, and the sounds that came out of that port were ear-bleedingly terrible. So fortunately we have a much richer sound with the mobile version here. Just barely, but enough to not stop playing the game. 1942 mobile runs anywhere from $1 to $2. At price points like these, it's hard to say no, and in the end, I can recommend this game. You don't have to tackle it all at once, and there are achievements to unlock, so it's a fun time as you travel back in time to experience the origins of the storied franchise and its publisher. I can't say the same for Capcom's other arcade ports unless controller support is added, but that's a story for another day. Hey, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more content like this, and how about some likes and comments to let me know how I'm doing and what else you'd like to see. Thanks again.